Hello, my name is Mariana Viruega from the postgraduate program in psychology at the National Autonomous University of Mexico, and I will present my research project, Effects of Functionally Equivalent Behavior on Time Playing Video Games. The study of video game playing time has been linked to obesity, failure to complete schoolwork, sleep deprivation, little time spent with family, as well as less time available for reading, sports, and other recreational activities. Like any behavior, playing video games is related to other events in the environment. Functional assessment will provide information about the functions that keep this behavior occurring to obtain or avoid something. Some research has studied the processes that maintain pathological gambling to establish a better intervention. In this research, once the functions have been identified, we sought equivalent and alternative healthy behaviors to allow the adolescent to obtain the same function that the video game behavior provides and know its effect on playtime. The design is quasi-experimental with pre and post measurements. The participants in this study were 8 parents of adolescents aged 13 to 17 years old. The inclusion criterion was the time spent playing video games was at least 1 hour daily. The weekly sessions were carried out via Zoom with a duration of 1 hour. The materials used were the questionnaire about behavioral function, and we asked parents to record the frequency and duration of video game behavior and the functional behavior assessment. The independent variable were the behavioral functions and their functionally equivalent behavior. The dependent variable was the time spent playing video games. During the 3 baseline sessions, the following was carried out. A, operational definition of video game behavior. B, application of the questionnaire of behavioral functions. C, implement the training of parents in behavioral recording and functional assessment of their adolescents' video game behavior. D, identification of functional equivalent behavior. The adolescents play video games freely. Once the functions of video game behavior were identified, 15 treatment sessions were conducted, in which functionally equivalent behavior strategies were applied to the video game behavior and compared which had a greater effect on video game time. Strategies used were, for attention, spend time with the adolescent at least 40 minutes, during which the adolescent does something they enjoy and the parents refrain themselves from asking questions or giving orders, and only makes positive or descriptive comments. In this situation, parents assign and facilitated an enjoyable activity other than playing video games, for example, socializing with friends, or give positive attentions to adolescents' appropriate behaviors through praise. In the escape function, parents allowed the adolescent to choose which activity to complete, the sequence of the activity, and when to complete the activity. They let the adolescent choose among different response methods. For example, washing dishes with a brush or a sponge, piano lessons, or robotic lessons, or stimulus control. Regarding the tangible function, the strategies were as follows: to increase the accessibility of objects or activities other than video games, differential reinforcement of alternative behavior of the desired object or activity as a function of an appropriate alternative response was provided. For the sensory function, the strategy was to provide a stimuli that matched the type of sensory reinforcement that maintains the video game behavior. For example, exchanging auditive stimulation by a DJ course. The hours reported at baseline by the continuous record of parents oscillate between 15 to 81 hours per week. with an average of 42.12 hours per week and a standard deviation of 21.69. At the end of the treatment sessions, the average number of hours is 16.75, with a standard deviation of 12.96. According to the questionnaire about function behavior, it is observed that the function that maintains the behavior of the adolescents, it is in the first place escape, followed by attention, and finally automatic and sensory reinforcement. The escape function maintains the behavior of playing video games by avoiding the demands of real-world tasks, such as academic and domestic tasks. The attentional function was held by coexisting with and receiving praise from the people with whom the adolescent played. The sensory function was maintained by the light, sounds, graphic, vibration, and tactile stimulation of some controls that were considered pleasurable and contribute to strengthening the gaming behavior. By enabling functionally equivalent behaviors, playtime was reduced. The findings up to this phase of the study are that although behavioral excesses bring negative consequences, only in some specific cases will they become pathological conditions. One of the factors that need to evolve is the stability of the dysfunctional behavior over time. In this case, playing time was reduced in all the participants, but enabling functionally equivalent behaviors. An analysis of the results will be made for the conclusions and discussions. I want to give a special thanks to the National Council of Science and Technology, the National Autonomous University of Mexico, and Dr. Morales Chaine for their support for this project. Thank you for your attention.